Hello. Okay, so I did this intro again, now I'm going to do this again, and I'm going to do it right. Anyway, hello guys, this is 2 years later, and I'm going to be going over the top 10 most successful teams in the 2010s, from 2010 through to 2019. You can see the criteria right there, and we'll jump right into our first NHL team. So, in the 10th spot, we have the Vancouver Canucks. And so, the Vancouver Canucks, they were actually a really good team. They were really good from the 2000s and the 2010s. They were pretty good. They had Roberto Luongo in that really good goaltender. And they had the Sedin brothers, Ryan Kesler, and Alex Burrows. 4 really good players as well. They were really good too. And they had Kevin Bieksa back there, backing up that blue line for them, making it one of the best teams ever. But here's the thing, this Vancouver team, no cups. They made the playoffs 5 times in 10 years. They won their conference 4 times, and they had 2 President's Trophies and 1 finals appearance. And in that 1 final appearance, they went to the finals in 2011, where they lost in 7 to the Boston Bruins. It was sad for the hockey world, and we'll be moving on to our 9th spot. And by the way, Vancouver is the only Canadian team to crack this list. And now, in the number 9 spot. In number 9, we got the New York Rangers. This was a team, when I was making this list, I just looked at them immediately. Because they were so good, in my eyes. They were really good. Henrik Lundqvist, the Swedish king to never get a cup. Sorry, I'm walking over my words. Henrik Lundqvist, one of the best goaltenders ever, one of the best Swedish goaltenders ever. And then you got all these players on the New York Rangers. There's no particular person on the Rangers that stood out as a superstar player. I guess their captain, Ryan McDonough, could have been one, but they traded away him. The Rangers were one of those teams that they never really were amazing the whole decade. Like, they would do good for a year. They may miss the playoffs, or whatever. After the 2017 season, that was when the New York Rangers started to go on their rebuild. So they started trading away all these players that they didn't need. And funnily enough, Chris Kreider on the Rangers now is the only player from their little, I guess, dynasty that they had going on. So, in those 10 years, the New York Rangers had no cups, 7 playoff appearances, 2 conference wins, and 1 President's Trophy, along with 1 finals appearance. And in that 1 finals appearance, they lost in 5 to the LA Kings in 2014. It really should not have gone to end in 6. It should have gone to at least 6. Anyway, we'll be moving on to our 8th spot. And in our 8th spot, we have the first first California team on this list. Yes, there's more than one on this list. Anywho, it's the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. Where to start? This team was, again, another one of those teams that, when I was making this list, I just looked at them immediately as a good team. But when it comes to a list like this, I didn't think of them as an amazing team. Like, don't get me wrong, this Ducks team was brilliant. Brilliant. They weren't so good to start out the 2010s, though. They missed the playoffs for the first 2 years. After that, they really started picking it up. They won their conference. Like, they were pretty good. They had Corey Perry, Ryan Getzlaf, and Kessler and Bieksa for a good part of it at the end. And again, the Ducks, their last major season before they fell off was in 2017, well, the Rangers. And since then, they've been kind of on a rebuild, but they have Trevor Zegras. And they have another player, I can't remember. But they will be coming back stronger than ever, believe it or not. And now we'll be moving on to our 7th spot on this list. And on the 7th spot on this list, we have the Los Angeles Kings. My goodness. This team was something special. Well, after 2015, they weren't really anything special. Anyway, In the 2010s, the LA Kings, they had Dustin Brown and Hans Kopitar, both in their prime years. They were amazing. Along with Drew Doughty at the blue line, and then Jonathan Quick in goal. Quick was insane in these 2012 and 2014 playoffs for the LA Kings. He helped them a lot, tremendously. And also, Daryl Sutter, the scary head coach, the physical head coach. He likes the physical play. He came in 2012 and he led them to the Cup in 2012. And then again in 2014. And in the 2010s, the LA Kings had 2 Stanley Cups, 7 playoff appearances, 0 conference wins, 0 President's Trophies, and 2 finals appearances. And of course, those 2 finals appearances were in 2012 and 2014. Reason I had them ranked so high with 2 Stanley Cups was because on those runs, they were wild cards in both of them. It was quite funny. They never really came close to a President's Trophy on a good playoff run. And with that, we'll be moving on to the 6th spot on this list. And the 6th spot on this list, we have the St. Louis Blues. This team was, I don't know where to start with this team again. I don't know. I really don't. This team took me a while to figure out. It took me a while. It really did. Because this team for the longest time was considered one of the best teams in the NHL to not win the Stanley Cup until just 3 years ago. They won the Stanley Cup after they were last in their division. Last! Can you believe that? Anyway. They were last in their division. Wait a minute. Anyway, they had Tarasenko out front for them, along with Pietrangelo backstopping them at the point. And then they had the rookie Jordan Binnington, one of the biggest one-year wonders in NHL history. Anyway, within the 2010s, the St. Louis Blues had 1 Stanley Cup, 6 playoff appearances, 1 conference win, 0 President's Trophies, and 1 finals appearance. And in that 1 finals appearance, in 2019, sorry, I should have mentioned that, they won against the Boston Bruins in 7. A series to remember. It was the rematch of 1970. The famous Bobby Orr soaring through the air. The St. Louis Blues were one of those teams that just need to get the pieces there to become a good team. And they did. They got O'Reilly. They got Bozak. They probably got some other players. I can't remember them. But yeah, they were a pretty good team. But in 2019, they did something different and something truly special. And yeah, that's it for number 6. So let's move on to the 5th spot on this list. And on the 5th spot in this list, we have sorry, I almost said St. Louis again. We have the San Jose Sharks. This was one of my favorite teams. One of my favorite teams in the 2010s. I loved the dynamic duo Logan Couture and Joe Pavelski, along with the bearded boys Joe Fortin and Brent Burns. And then I just love Patrick Marleau at the same time too. And then Martin Jones, the weirdest goalie in NHL history. He's the best goalie ever, or he's the worst goalie ever. It's ridiculous. He can't pick anything for himself. Anyway, in those 10 years, the San Jose Sharks had no Stanley Cups, 9 playoff appearances, 2 conference wins, 0 President's Trophy, and 1 finals appearance. And in that finals appearance, they lost in 6 to the Penguins in 2016, when the Penguins were starting a little back-to-back. Anyway, I don't have anything else much to say about this team, but actually I do. This team, again, could be considered as one of those teams to have the best-looking rosters, but not win the Stanley Cup. It's sad. Anyway, let's move on to the 4th spot on this list. And on the 4th spot on this list, we have the Boston Bruins. The most annoying NHL team in the 2010s, with Brad Marchand. With Brad Marchand being the most pissed kind of player ever, along with some other players. Tyler Seguin was a Boston Bruin. Like, what? Okay, this Boston Bruins team was really good. Like, really, really good. Like, They had Tuukka Rask in that. They had Zdeno Chara, Patrice Bergeron, and Brad Marchand and Tyler Seguin. That is a killer first line. Killer. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So they had one cup, which was in 2011, 8 playoff appearances, 3 conference wins, 1 President's Trophy, and 3 finals appearances. And in case you guys were getting a little confused there, I'm counting President's Trophies as conference wins. So really, the Boston Bruins won their conference twice without winning the President's Trophy, if that makes any sense. The Boston Bruins in the 2010s went to the Cup final in 2011, where they won the Stanley Cup against Vancouver. They went to the final in 2013, where they lost to the Chicago Blackhawks. And then they went to the Cup final again in 2019, where they lost to the St. Louis Blues. Boston is still one of those teams that is still getting better, but time is starting to run out with Brad Marchand and Patrice Bergeron. Like, they're both getting older. Same thing with Tuukka Rask. Like, you don't know how much longer these guys are going to stay, so you want to make the most of it while you can. Anyway, with that being said, we will move on to the third spot on this list. And with that, it's going to be the Pittsburgh Penguins. One of the best, most dominant teams I have ever seen in my lifetime. Wow, this Penguins team was just amazing. Still is. I mean, there's Crosby, Malkin, and Letang. 3 players that they're the faces of that team. They're the faces of that franchise. They have been together for so long. They have done so well. Like, it's unbelievable. And then they have Chris Kunitz. He destroyed a franchise. He should go to jail for that. And then there's the young Matt Murray, who came out of nowhere. He was amazing in 2016, where he took over Fleury's spot. And he did the same thing again in 2017, and he led them to the Cup in 2017. He helped them get past the Ottawa Senators. He helped them get past the Washington Capitals. And he did the same thing against the Nashville Predators, because in 2017, the game they won the Cup, Matt Murray had back-to-back shutouts. Back-to-back shutouts, which was insane. Anyway, with that being said, let's move on to the second pick. And that will be the Washington Capitals. Damn. And I know what you're thinking. A lot of people are going to be thinking that the Penguins should be second, not the Washington Capitals. But just wait a second. Look at those stats the Washington Capitals have compared to the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's insane. Ovechkin is just one of the greatest goal scorers of our generation. The best, actually. He's the best goal scorer of our generation. It's insane. And then he has Nicklas Backstrom, who is the franchise leader in assists. And then for the longest time, they were being backstopped by Braden Holtby. And then they have, leading them at the blue line, John Carlson. Arguably one of the best American defensemen of our generation, and the best, arguably, defenseman in the Washington Capitals franchise. And yes, that made sense. Anyway, in the 2010s, they had 1 Cup, 9 playoff appearances, 7 conference wins, 3 President's Trophies, and 1 finals appearance. And that 1 finals appearance was against the Golden Knights. The Golden Knights had a magical season that year, and yeah, they were amazing. But the Capitals were better. They had more energy, because they hadn't been there for so long. They hadn't been there since 1998. They had so much energy that they didn't want to blow the opportunity, because you never know. You may not ever get the chance ever again. Anyway, with that being said, let's move on to the first and final pick on this list. Who will it be? Will it be the Tampa Bay Lightning? Will it be, I don't know, will it be anybody? Let's find out. And this is not a meme, this is serious content right here. And with that, the Chicago Blackhawks take first place on this list. And for anyone at home, this should be a no-brainer. Like, Chicago should automatically be in your heads as one of the best teams in the 2010s. Like, They were doing so good, and yes, they did start to fall off a little bit there in 2017, but that doesn't matter. They were a big, dominant force, led by Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews. The dynamic duo was just unbeatable that year. Unbeatable. And then they had Duncan Keith and Brent Seabrook, one of the best defensive pairings I've ever seen, along with Nicholas Hjalmarsson. And then in net they had one of the best goalies for a long time then was Corey Crawford. He was unbeatable. And that's what made the Chicago team so good. They were consistently winning. Yes, they did lose in the first round a few times, yeah. But still, if you forget about all that, Chicago was a brilliant, brilliant team. They won 3 Stanley Cups in 10 years, which is amazing, really, if you think about it. 3 cups, 8 playoff appearances, 3 conference wins, and 1 President's Trophy. And one thing to note on that was they were the only team since Detroit to win the President's Trophy and the Stanley Cup, both in 1 year. And that curse is still being going on today. But here's the controversy side of this. The Chicago Blackhawks didn't play a full NHL season that year because there was a lockout. Yeah, right, there was a lockout going on. So there was only 50 games played? Not even that, there was 48 games played actually, sorry. 48 games, and the Chicago Blackhawks were the President's Trophy winners. And yeah, they were just really good, really good. There's nothing else I should say to make your minds change. I didn't even write notes, and I'm doing this so smoothly. I like it. But yeah, you get the gist of things. The Chicago Blackhawks, in my mind, when I was making this, was the Chicago Blackhawks were just amazing. They were just unstoppable. They were unbeatable. In 2015, they were unbeatable. You could not beat them. They destroyed Nashville. They swept Minnesota. And they went to 7 against the Ducks. Ultimately came out on top. And then they faced the Lightning in the final, where they were to win the Stanley Cup, with Kane's iconic goal to send the Chicago Blackhawks to win the Stanley Cup. It was truly one of those moments in hockey where it's hockey, you know? That's why this team was a bit of everything too. They had the physicality, they had the skill, and they had the defense, the poise. That's what every team needs. They need the grit too. If every team can master those things, they're amazing, and that's what the Blackhawks succeeded in. Well, that's my list for you. And did you agree with anything I said? Did you disagree? Let me know. If you want me to make more lists like these, I will think about it. Let me know in the comments which lists you want me to see do next. I can do the worst teams for the 2010s, most controversial teams for the 2010s, whatever. It goes to you guys. The power's in your hands. Anyway, we're going to end off the video right here. And if you want to see more of these kinds of videos, let me know in the comments. If you want to see more of these videos, subscribe as well. And if you want to make my day just a little bit better, consider leaving a like down below. And have a great day. I hope you guys have a great day. And I'll see you guys next time.